Hello all, welcome back. So in our Selenium series today we are going to see a new library that is supporting some functionalities, and that is called as Webdriver Manager. So what exactly this Webdriver Manager does and why it is helpful for us to know and implement in our framework, that is what I am going to discuss today. Now what is Webdriver Manager? So it's a Selenium Java library, or a dependency I would say, which helps us to automatically manage the browser drivers, and also it is helping us to set up the environment variable as well. Now what exactly this does, what is the problem with our existing without using this particular library, those things I will be showing you guys. So let's first move into our code base. And here you can see, so in our previous session we have already seen a kind of a get started guide with the framework, right, where we have set up the driver initialization and then sharing the driver object. So today I'm going to show what is the issue with having this system.set property, this line. Okay, so let me do one thing. Let me first run this particular test. So as you can see, the test was working fine, right, in our previous session when we were seeing. Now I didn't change a single line of code as well in this particular framework, but why exactly this is failing? The reason, if you see, if you go to the exception, it is a session not created exception. It means that the driver is not yet initialized. The reason is that could not start a new session because of some server error, and that issue is the version of the Chrome driver only supports the Chrome browser version 92. See, we all know, right, to run our Selenium test we need the browser drivers. That's how the Selenium is communicating with the browsers. So the browser which I did actually a couple of days back while creating this framework, it was 92. So that is the reason this particular Chrome driver, if you go to this base test, you see this Chrome driver, this was working fine, but in the duration within this couple of days my browser, Chrome browser, got updated to 94. How do you see? Let me show you that. So if you come here, you go to this and then you go to the help and about, and you can see it is the 94 version, but before it was 92. So in a normal scenario, what I have to do, so I have to go back to this particular screen, or maybe in Google, and I will say that Chrome driver download, I will say, because I want to get the latest version, right? So for the 94, I need to get this one. I need to click on this so that it will download my 94 version of the driver here based on whether it is Mac or Windows. You will be extracting that and put it under this particular location actually, so that this system.set property, what exactly this does. So this is basically setting your environmental variables. So when you say this key value pair, so that Selenium goes, whenever you are saying driver.new Chrome driver, Selenium basically looks for this particular key, webdriver.chrome.driver. That's how it is getting the path actually, and then it is what you call performing your operation. Now this is the problem actually, when your Chrome browser is updating, it's just a Chrome, right? Now tomorrow let's say that your Edge driver or Firefox driver, all these browsers are keep on updating, right? I mean, if you see these browsers, normally in a month at least once they will be updating because of some security patch or some issues. Now at that moment, and when you're running your Selenium test cases in your CI/CD pipelines, you will be getting failures, right, in your test case. And this is not problem with your project or the way you are coding. This is problem with your setup or the configurations that you are doing. Now that's where actually your WebDriver Manager is coming into the picture. Now what exactly this WebDriver Manager does? So let me just show you the documentation first. So and then the GitHub link actually. So let's first go to the GitHub link. So if you see, this is the GitHub link. This is a person, Boni, who is a contributor to the Selenium as well. So he came out with a WebDriver Manager library. Now what it does, I will be letting you know in a moment, but so the recent version is 5.0.3. You can see now whenever you are coming to this particular GitHub, you can see on the right hand side some releases. Now based on these things, you will come to know what is the latest version of this particular release and what are the major benefits or major changes, so that you need to update in your test case. Okay, so now if you see, there are two major things. So there are a couple of things that they have changed the way. So if some of you might have even come to know about this Webdriver Manager before, right? So where you can download your, so let me first show you the documentation. So this is what actually he maintained, one nice documentation. So I don't need to maintain anything. I can just go over the main points that you need, so that it can make you more interest and you can go back and include in your framework as well. So the first thing is that Webdriver Manager, it's a downloader, I would say that. Now what else it is doing, that's what I'm going to show you guys. So you can see it is the driver, which is a mediator between your test script and then the browser. So whenever you are sending any kind of request, this browser driver understands your code base, whether it is Java or C# or JavaScript, anything. Now it converts into a understandable language that the browser can understand, and it performs the action and revert you back with the response. In a high level, actually this is the concept. So as you can see, there are actually four main steps that this Webdriver Manager does. So before going to the first line in detail, let me first get back to the installation and how do you really set up into your framework. So the first thing, we need to get the Webdriver Manager 5.0.3. This is the Maven dependency that we need. As you can see, this is the latest version. So I'll just copy here and then paste it here. And you guys know, right, how to install this one. I can skip the test. You can see if you're using your IntelliJ as your editor, to install any of the dependencies, you need to click on this thunder, which is skipping your test cases. You can see skip your running test cases, so that existing test cases will not run when I say install. So let me quickly install this one. Probably it will install quickly because I already installed this one. As you can see, it's all saying that everything is good. Now after that, as always, let me go back to this, right click, go to the Maven and reload my project, so that this dependency will be uploaded to my, or it is loading to my particular project. How do I see that? I already told to you guys before. So you have to go to the particular library. So that is actually io.github. You can see io.github. Okay, so this is the way you can verify that the dependency is downloaded or not. Now it's very, so till now, so far, whatever these sessions, 40 or 50 videos that we have seen, we did not really come to this particular libraries, right? But this made me so much interest to get into this, how exactly he is doing. That is what I'm going to show you guys. So first thing is that, first let me go back to the documentation. So here, if you go to the algorithm or the way he is doing, so first thing what it is telling, it is getting the browser version, what kind of version, and it is telling that commands database. Now if you go to this particular, so this is again another project, right? Libraries are nothing but it is just a project only, or just a program. They created a jar file and given to you guys to use it. Now we can extract this jar file. In fact, we can see all the files, whatever it is there inside this. So here you can see commands.properties file. So this is where actually he is getting to know what kind of version you have. Now let's say that Chrome, I'm taking a simple scenario and that is applicable for all browsers. That's how all the browsers have designed. So to get the Chrome, let's say that I'm using Windows. Now for Windows, if you go to this particular screen or this particular command, you will come to know what version of the Chrome browser is installed. You can see it is just taking the program files, whether it is 32-bit or 64-bit and everything, and it is getting the Chrome inside that application and chrome.exe, and they're executing one command actually. So this command is get version, so it will give you the version. At this moment I have 94, right, which I have shown in the help about. So that's how he is getting the particular version of your system. And this is an overview. And then if you want to go in detail, you have to get into individually, you have to search in Google to see how can I get this command to achieve this one, so that you will get in detail. Okay, so the first thing is that he is executing certain commands to get the browser version. Now the next thing what he is doing, next thing is that he's, after getting the browser version, he's finding the proper driver version. Okay, this is again interesting, right? Now based on your browser version, he is first searching into the browser driver actually, and that is into the versions database. Now what is this versions database? So this is nothing but versions.properties. So he is keep on updating all the versions of the browser drivers actually. You can see for Chrome 94, you will see 94 point this one. Now this one you can see even here. If you go to this, for 94 browser, what is it? It is exactly 460661, right? The same thing if you go to the code base, you will get to know. You see? Like this actually he is matching actually those things, and every time one new Chrome browser version is coming, he is keep on adding this particular file. Okay, so that is how one thing is doing. So this is the way the second one, and you can see it is not just limited to Chrome, Firefox, and then Opera, key value pairs, simple properties file only he is using. Now the third thing what he is doing, let's see that. Once the driver version is discovered, means he got the driver version, what is it? By matching that browser version, then what he is doing? He is saying that he is downloading that browser driver. Okay, like as I was doing manually, right? I just clicked on this and it downloaded. But in reality, we cannot do. You can see what it is happening. So if I copy this link address, let me paste it here. Okay, you can see what is this combination. You can see till here it is correct. Okay, till here it is constant only. You can see till here it is constant. The next thing what he is doing, he is getting your browser version in your system. What is the browser version? Based on that, he is getting what has to be the exact version of the driver actually by using this versions.properties file. You can see he is getting this one. Okay, now by taking this particular browser driver version, he is building this URL. Okay, after that what he is doing, this is an executable URL. See, if I enter this one, it downloads, it goes to here, and then if I click, it will just download that. That's how he is doing that. And now if I go to here, you can see the URL got changed here. Like for an instance, let me copy link address and let me go here. And you can see after this, when I'm only setting this one, I'm getting this one. If I build this one to Chrome driver Win32, then it is coming this link. Now I can enter this one and then it downloads. Now this is what he is doing by using some kind of HTTP GET call actually. This is a API call he is doing by building this URL. Let me show you that into the code base. So if I am correct, let me just get into this one. So there is something called as a Webdriver actually. Give me a moment. I think under this, you can see there is something called as a download actually. Inside this download, what is doing, forget about all these things. Let me show you this one. So this Webdriver Manager class has a download method. This download in turn calls another download method actually. But this download method is not in this. Where it is? It is inside the downloader. Now let me go back to this implementation. So if I go to this implementation, you can see here, this is again going into another method actually here. So first it is checking whether it is already there in our system or not. If it is not there, you can see if it is not present, what is not present? The browser driver. Then it is going to this. So it is again another method it is calling. Now where it will check? Now it is checking your local path actually, target file, where it is. So it is basically in here. So if you see the documentation, it is inside your cache Selenium. Now if I copy this one, this particular path, and let me go to the spotlight and here, and if I search this one, you can see this is my local path actually. It is already set in the program whenever you are installing this library. And you can see under this Chrome driver, because I'm using Mac, See, now getting this Mac or Windows, it's easy actually. By using Java, you can get os.arc and then you will get it whether it is Mac or Windows or even 32-bit or 64-bit as well. After this, it is getting this particular version. From where it is getting? It is getting from that properties file, and then it is creating a folder structure inside this a Chrome driver. Okay, if I delete this one, then your else statement will be executing. Else means this if condition will be true. Actually, you can see driver dot is present. If I'm deleting that one, then this if condition will become true. Then it will go to this one actually. So this download dot and extract. Let me go to this one. What it does now, you can see it is getting a URL actually. What is this URL? This URL is nothing but this one, what I have shown right just now. So they are building this URL by first they see this is very much strict, right? This URL is fixed for Chrome browser. Okay, and I can show you that as well. So if you go to this Webdriver Manager properties, you can see this URL is fixed actually here. Now they keep on appending what actually, whether it is a Chrome browser or Firefox browser, whether it is Mac or Windows, whether it is which kind of version. So all these three criteria they are getting into this code. They are kind of extracting from your system information and they are building this URL, which in turn they are sending to this particular URL. After that, you can see here they are getting a HTTP client. This is again one of the Java's API library actually. By using that, they are doing a get call. You can see create HTTP get call. After that, as soon as they will do this get call, it will download that file. As a response, it will download that file, which they are keeping it inside a temporary file. Let me just go to this. Let's see where exactly the temporary file is there. Yeah, so here you can see target file. They are again moving to another file actually. Now what is this file? This file is nothing but your cache Selenium, that path which I have shown in my directory, right? That is what they are saving it. Once they do this one, after that what they are doing there, so let me just show you. So download and extract is done. Let me come back to here. So this is done actually. Now where they are using this one. So after that they're exporting actually. So if you see here, the third one is done, right? They are setting up that URL. Once that URL is set up, they are just doing a get call only. After that, what they are doing? They are exporting this one to your Java system properties. We were doing system.set property, right? That is what they are doing automatically. Once, see, now let me go back to here to make more understand. See, to do this one, what we are doing before writing this line, we are downloading that. Now system.set property of this key value pair, they are doing in an export actually. So now that export method is inside this only. Here you can see export driver. They are taking this one and using your system.set property. What is variable name? Variable name is nothing but your that webdriver.chrome.driver. Now value is nothing but the path of that particular Chrome browser. So here they are sending it from the export driver. Simple concepts. Now I'm not making a big like the detailed line by line, that would be like taking a long, but I'm saying the exact 4 or 5 steps what we are doing manually, they are doing it for us actually. It's a very simple but very effective way of what you call automating this process actually. For sure actually the time how much I spent, I got to know this much, but yeah, depending on your interest you can go inside and try to get to know what and all different concepts they are using to perform this operation. Let's now utilize their library. So here what I'm going to do, what are the different steps I need to do? For sure now I'm not going to use this particular line of code. Instead of that, what I'm going to do, I will use Webdriver Manager. You can import. Now you can see from where it is coming, io.github.Bonnie Garcia, who is the owner or author of this particular library or who created this one. Now they are saying if you go to this GitHub, see I'm not doing my own actually, I'm reading all the setup configuration whatever he is telling and I'm following him. And here you can see this line of code for Chrome. If you are using Chrome, so you can just use it, that's it. Now till setup, if you are doing all those 4 steps which I explained, right, everything is done in this actually, this particular line of code. Now you are just using the same way. I don't want now, again I don't want to do all these manual steps. What I'm going to do, I'll do like this, but in this case I will say Firefox. For each of the browser, actually they have created a classes, and from where you can use these methods actually, and then they have pretty much he has been provided all browsers that we are using for automation testing, and we can use this particular line of code. Okay, so at this moment, because my framework I have only kept Chrome or Firefox, that's why I mentioned, but yeah, you are free to use any kind of browser that they are providing you. Fine, so we have written this line of code. Now let's try to install, and at this moment what I'm going to do, I will delete this one. Okay, now at this moment let's see what it is doing. Now I don't need to do any change. Now you can see this is just one line of code you need to do. No worries about your browser version, no worries about what kind of driver you have downloaded, where exactly you have kept everything. We shouldn't be worrying about that. Now at this moment I'll go to my test case and I'll right click and run this one. It is now executing my test cases properly, but before it wasn't executing, right? Now there are certain things that I need to tell. It's not just doing this much actually. Some people are using some older version of the libraries, in the sense like in real time what it is happening. See, for practice I can use any kind of RC version, beta version or anything, but in real time when you are executing your test cases into a specific environment, means in your EC2 instances or in your Docker, you might not updating your Chrome browser or your framework, all these things as and when it is available into the market. So normally in real time what we do, we first create our own sample project. Whenever we are getting latest version of these libraries, we do it in our locally actually, to make sure that these things are working fine or not. If it is working, then only we are updating. But by the time we are testing all these things, your test cases, if you update it at that moment, then it is a problem, right? Now what you are doing actually by that time. So now for an example, let's say that now the Chrome browser is 94, latest is. In my real-time project, I might be using 92 only. So what you can do, explicitly you can specify to the Webdriver Manager, okay, latest is 94, but you download this particular version of the browser only. Okay, for an instance, let's say that I want to install or download the 92 version of the Chrome browser, though I have 94. Even you can do that. So let me show you that. So what you need to do here, so you will see, first thing is that you need to specify what kind of browser. That is based on this method. Now here, if you put dot here, dot, you can see there are a lot of different methods they are using here. Okay, one thing is that a browser version. So here what you can do, you can specify, you can see it is asking the string, accepting a string. What is your browser version? Let's say that I want to utilize 92. So you just need to specify 92. That's it. Now when you do this one, what it does, it won't download the latest version of the browser driver actually. So it will go to this particular version 92, and it will compare into the versions.properties file what exactly the version number, and then by taking that, it will build that URL and download that particular file for you, or the browser driver. Now this is one good concept if you are sticking to a particular browser actually, or if you are using multiple browsers. Now another way is there, dot Chrome driver, okay, dot, and you will see something, driver version actually. Let's see, here you can see driver version, means you can specify the driver version. Instead of the browser version, you can specify the driver version, but you have to make sure that the exact driver version what you want to download. For an instance, if I go to this one, let's say that you want to install this 93. So what you can do, you can copy paste this one, and then you can come back here and then you can specify this one. That's it. You just need to do this much only. Okay, so what it does, it won't worry about what kind of browser version is there, because you have explicitly mentioned that what browser it is to download, it is doing this one. Okay, so that is one of the way. It is just giving you a flexibility to use to download the drivers in multiple way situations. Okay, but I always stick to the this particular thing because my real-time project, or I'm not worrying about multiple browser versions and anything. So what it is, even though you are what you call, you are restricting your Chrome browser to have a specific version, this Chrome driver dot setup does the same thing because it first checks your browser version, right? So you don't need to worry about that. But still, I'm just giving you these 2 lines of code in case you need certain situations where you want to explicitly download a particular version. So then also you can use this particular line of code. Okay. So at this moment I have limited myself to have Chrome and Firefox, but yeah, you can try Safari. Safari actually doesn't need any driver, so you shouldn't be worrying about that because it downloads default actually along with your Safari browser. But yeah, any other things, Edge driver, Opera and all those things, you can just keep adding this if else conditions and you can practice it. Make sure that that particular browser is installed in your machine. Okay, so hope this particular session is helpful and you got an idea about this particular library. Okay, so stay tuned. We will be seeing some more interesting topics, how to build a framework, how to make it more flexible. So stay tuned and do subscribe to this YouTube channel and share with your friends. Thank you for watching.